In California, pre-K education is seen as absolutely essential to a child's flourishing. This is the opening page of First 5 California, what calls itself California's parenting website. Let's read together, shall we? Quote, starting between the ages of 2 and 3 years old, you will have the option of placing your child in preschool. Some parents may ask, why preschool? Isn't my child learning enough at home or at daycare? Research shows that kids who attend quality preschool may have higher math and reading skills, are better prepared for kindergarten, behave better in class, and are more likely to graduate from high school and attend college. Look at these beautiful kids. What's not to love? How could anybody not cheer as Joe Biden made pre-K a cornerstone of his platform? To help the disadvantaged for the bargain price of $200 billion. We need to have our 3-year-olds at a desk tracing letters and learning how to count, not wasting their precious time running around having fun, splashing in a stream, launching paper boats, making mud pies, pretending that their stuffed animals are talking to each other. We need to get these kids ready to work. Wait, where does this picture come from? Some crazy right-wing homeschooling website? Not so much. It comes from NPR. Yes, that NPR. And from a story about the biggest, longest-lasting study of what really happens when low-income kids start school at age 3. The study was done by Dr. Dale Farron and Associates. She's professor emeritus at Vanderbilt University. Quote, her recent research evaluating the effectiveness of alternative preschool curricula for preparing children from low-income families to transition successfully to school, and longitudinal follow-up for long-term effects. Currently, she is directing an evaluation of the state of Tennessee's pre-kindergarten program. Well, the results are in. Let's start the truck and read the NPR article together. You're going to love this. We begin. Dale Farron has been studying early childhood education for half a century, yet her most recent scientific publication has made her question everything she thought she knew. It really has required a lot of soul-searching, she says, a lot of reading of the literature to try to think what were plausible reasons that might account for this. By this, she means the outcome of a study that lasted more than a decade. It included 2,990 low-income children in Tennessee who applied to free, public, pre-kindergarten programs. Some were admitted by lottery and the others were rejected, creating the closest thing you can get in the real world to a randomized controlled trial. The gold standard in showing causality in science. Farron and her co-authors at Vanderbilt University followed both groups of children all the way through 6th grade. At the end of their first year, the kids who went to pre-K scored higher on school readiness as expected. But after 3rd grade, they were doing worse than the control group, and at the end of 6th grade, they were doing even worse. They had lower test scores, were more likely to be in special education, and were more likely to get into trouble in school, including serious trouble, like suspensions. Whereas in 3rd grade, we saw negative effects on one of the 3 state achievement tests, in 6th grade, we saw it on all 3, math, science, and reading, says Farron. In 3rd grade, where we had seen effects on one type of suspension, which is minor violations, by 6th grade, we're seeing it on both types of suspensions, both major and minor. That's right, a statewide public pre-K program taught by licensed teachers housed in public schools had a measurably and statistically significant negative effect on the children in this study. Farron had not expected it. She didn't like it, but her study design was unusually strong, so she couldn't easily explain it away. This is still the only randomized, controlled trial of a statewide pre-K, she says, and I know that people get upset about this and don't want it to be true. Close quote. The article also mentions a Boston pre-K study of a similar size that showed better results, but that was a city program and didn't focus on low-income kids like Farron's study. Obviously, pre-K is not the playing field leveling panacea that the Biden administration thinks it is. I'll link the article below so that you can read the rest of it. Listen, we all want kids to succeed, but we shouldn't be spending $1 million on something likely to make outcomes worse, let alone 200,000 millions. Dr. Farron suggests that discipline problems arise because children in these programs may be developing a negative feeling toward external controls because they haven't yet naturally developed their internal controls. My mother was a licensed daycare provider in the 60s and 70s. Our home was a busy place. My dad had built a big jungle gym and swing set in the backyard. We had cots and daybeds all over the house for naps, lots of toys, books, tricycles. Sometimes my mom cared for as many as 10 children in addition to her own 5. None was ever seriously injured, none ever missed a meal or felt neglected. What these kids got a lot of was free-form, self-directed play and socialization. My mom would stand at an open window watching as the kids invented games, formed and disbanded groups, turned found objects into toys, and generally turned their minds to exploring the world. Maybe once a day, kids having a dispute would troop into the house where my mother would hear their grievances. They'd have to think things through and make their case. They'd have to understand the situation from their opponent's point of view. And then she'd make a ruling and mete out whatever justice was necessary. And the kids would run back outside, none the worse for wear. Children need to be taught some things, and other things they need to learn on their own. We don't teach them to crawl or to walk or even to talk. We keep them safe while they figure it out, and as they grow up, we educate them on the finer points. An intelligent toddler has a drive to learn. The last thing we want to do is force that drive into a box before it can bloom into a lifelong craving for knowledge. The article closes like this. But the biggest lesson Farron has drawn from her research is that we've simply asked too much of pre-K based on early results from what were essentially showcase pilot programs. We tend to want a magic bullet, she says. Whoever thought that you could provide a 4-year-old from an impoverished family with 5.5 hours a day, 9 months a year of preschool and close the achievement gap and send them to college at a higher rate, she asks. I mean, why? Why do we put so much pressure on our pre-K programs? We might actually get better results, she says, from simply letting little children play. Thanks for watching, and kudos to NPR for covering this. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and then click the little bell to get notifications.